What if FNAF was real? It's a question we've been asking for ages. Since the release of the first game, we've wondered what it would be like to deal with a real Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. We've even made multiple videos about how a real Freddy Fazbear's could happen. However, those were tailored towards a more FNAF-themed pizzeria rather than the actual Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So this begs the ultimate question, what if FNAF was real? Will it FNAF? That's what we're exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Connor Monroe and I thought about this way too much if I'm being totally honest. Okay, let's do this. Well, first of all, let's get this out of the way instantly. If FNAF was real, it would be horrible. Just straight up. 5 kids would have gone missing in one of their locations and the company probably would have closed down. But let's assume that people would still end up going, whether it's because they didn't believe the lies or thought that the government made it up, or because it's their choice, or because they're a YouTuber who wants views. Why are you looking at me like that? Well, assuming that people still went to the restaurant because perhaps maybe they vanished around the area instead of inside the place, what would it be like to live in a real Five Nights at Freddy's? For a kid, it would be pretty awful, but you also wouldn't know it. The world would be dangerous and anyone could be William Afton's next victim, but you wouldn't know that there was a serial killer on the loose with murderous animatronics able to disguise themselves and hide in plain sight that are willing to kill at any moment. But I mean, like, to be fair, that's also like real life, minus the animatronics. For adults, if you have kids, you may be worried. I mean, any parent is always worried about their kids, but if there was a group of kids who went missing in your area, I'm sure that there would at least be a small amount of paranoia. And honestly, it would be reasonable. I mean, I grew up in a house where my father was always worried. So much so that my sister couldn't walk up to her friend's house up the street without him watching to make sure she was okay. And while that would probably be extreme for most parents, if there was a very real threat of kidnapping, I'm sure that there would be a lot of curfews. For the sake of this entire thing, we also have to assume that the police didn't investigate the interiors of the animatronics themselves, despite them smelling like death and leaking body fluids, including blood. Since that's something literally anyone with common sense would check when investigating the disappearance of children and then learning that animatronics are leaking blood and smelling like a dead body. But what of the technology that we see in these games? Would animatronics that can alter their appearance be realistic? No. Of course not. The spring-locked suits, the illusion discs, the twisted animatronics, and the like are all extremely improbable considering the actual technology of not only our time, but the 80s when this would have normally taken place. At least, if we have a rough idea of the timeline, which honestly at this point, we could be totally wrong about the timeline. The technology in the games is so highly advanced that we have absolutely no idea what else they could have access to. They could have smartphones in the 80s for crying out loud. And if they don't, then William should have capitalized on that rather than murdering countless innocent kids, because he could have literally been a billionaire. The highly advanced technology would have to be disregarded in terms of the abilities of William Afton. So while this seems like a fight that nobody could really win, realistically, it wouldn't be as bad as we think, at least in those terms, since even Chuck E. Cheese, the closest thing to Freddy Fazbear's in our world, obviously, still only has the most simple robotic abilities known to man, despite the popularity of Five Nights at Freddy's and their ability to capitalize on that trend by taking some of those concepts, like the advanced robotics, not the dead kids, and then converting them into real life, because like the concepts in the actual pizzeria, not having kids go missing, like I said, that's a bad idea. Although based on comments left on previous videos, especially about how a real life Freddy's would happen, there have been plenty of people that are willing to die, or more likely to go to Chuck E. Cheese if it was more dangerous for some reason. Y'all are weird. But one final query. How would YouTubers handle it? Clearly, there are YouTubers in this world thanks to the mention of Matt Pat, or at the very least Game Theory in the Fazbear Frights books, so what of the others? Well, we would most likely not be talking about FNAF, something that I'm sure a lot of you would enjoy, but also something that you wouldn't be aware of, which is a whole other can of worms that I won't be getting into today, because you wouldn't know about FNAF, because FNAF wouldn't be a thing. However, I'm sure that there would be plenty of true crime and conspiracy YouTubers heading to A or the same Freddy Fazbear's where the kids went missing in order to solve the case. Or really just talk about it and get nowhere with it. Sounds like someone I know. Since they don't have the clearance or the equipment to do an actual investigation, or on a potentially closed case. Shane Dawson would 100% have gone there for that same conspiracy theory video, and the psychic twins would definitely have showed up at some point and definitely sensed something, but not quite known what it was. Ooh. MatPat may have made a food theory video about it because he made a food theory video about Chuck E. Cheese, but the thing is, these YouTubers coming to investigate, would they be William's next targets? It's an interesting question because as far as we know, he's only killed one adult, and that was Henry. Every other victim has been a kid, so while they may be in more danger, there would clearly be a bigger issue in trying to deal with these YouTubers, especially if they get killed or die mysteriously shortly after visiting a Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. It would probably start some form of curse rumor that would only get more people to go there to try to solve that case. But how would Freddy's have dealt with the pandemic? Would they have made enough to survive the years of quarantine? Or would they, like our Chuck E. Cheese, have to file for bankruptcy? Would they get to open their Pizzaplex? Or would some problematic tweets from William Afton rise and cause the restaurant to get cancelled for calling Chica a he? These are all good questions that we will never really have an answer for because, well, FNAF isn't real. And that's why people keep commenting that nothing in these videos is scary. No, it's not real. It can't actually hurt you. That's why it's not scary. Scary is subjective. Just relax. There we have it, friends. What if FNAF was real? I feel like there was probably more to it, but my brain is just FNAF'd out at this point, and it's processing things very slowly, at least currently. So how about I read out some comments from previous videos? Mackenzie Moss says, I want to see top 10 versions of Toy Chica. So do I. Hot damn, that sounds fun. But I don't think I'd be able to control myself if I made that list. I'd rather make top 10 tastiest FNAF animatronics part 2. Insomniac Softish said, bro, I literally searched this up yesterday, WTF. That's because I am your search history. Yes, I know every bit about where you've been going on the web. Even incognito mode can't stop me. I am invincible. I know all the Reddit pages you frequent, and honestly, you need a girlfriend. Chris Afton said, Connor, what in the living Yes, because if it was what in the dead I would be put on some sort of watch list, I'm sure. I wouldn't be allowed to graveyards. PETA Wait said, here's a question for you. What if Golden Freddy is the one who caused the bite of 87 and is the crying child? Tell me if you think that. Now, I've already talked about my stance on that theory, and every time I do, people get mad at me. But I'll do it again for good measure. I believe that the older brother and the crying child are the same person. Only the older brother is a robotic version of Crying Child made by William Afton after Crying Child's death in FNAF 4, like how Charlie from the original FNAF novels was one in a series of robots. Hence why Michael doesn't die when being filled with Ennard or when Ennard leaves his body. There's also a whole video about this theory on the channel, and if you want, the link is up in the iCard because that's one of my best videos in my personal opinion. I love that video. Everyone hates it, but it's genuinely what I believe, and until it gets 100% confirmed otherwise, it's a valid theory, and so is every other theory. You're Dead Not Big Surprise said, man, you guys are really milking FNAF, huh? Not that I'm complaining though. You have absolutely no idea how right you are. But there is a reason as to why we're doing so much FNAF. Whenever we try to make a non-FNAF video, it bombs, unless it was Bethesda's E3 presentation. Other than that, they do horribly, and we have people to pay so that they can afford rent and food, so we roll with what works. If other videos did as well as FNAF, then we would do those as well, but they just don't. So for those of you who are complaining about the amount of FNAF, how about if we upload something else, you watch that too, because we can do double upload days where we have a FNAF video and a non-FNAF video, but the audience needs to be there for it, and it just doesn't seem like there is anymore. That's why we're doing so much FNAF. So like, stop complaining in the comments and watch the other non-FNAF videos. That's all the time we have for comments today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, let us know by hitting like and subscribe. And what other questions should I answer next? Perhaps how dangerous William Afton really is, or how dangerous he would be in our world? Be sure you let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. Oh, look at that, 15 minutes, I did it! But, Bubby! No. Bubby. No, don't come over here. Bro. Bro. Come here. Come here. Here we go. Here's some blooper content. What did I say about barking? I said no barking. No barking. Stop looking at the door. No, no, no. No, stop looking at the door. I said, no barking. And you're barking anyway. This is Bubby, everyone. He's my first son. He says hi. Alright, cancelled for calling Chica a he. That sounded like Keegan there.